All right, in this video, we're going to show you how to use the checklists in your transaction desk. This is where we use what we use as a paperless pipeline, your back office system. So this is the only place you'll have to submit documents to us. We make it real simple for you. The same program you're using to get all your documents signed is the same program you'll use to hand in your documents to us so that you can get paid at the end of the transaction. So here it is. So here in the transaction, as you'll look here, you'll see on the right side, there's a thing called checklists. Whenever you start a transaction, use one of our templates, it automatically loads this in here for the right one for the type of transaction you chose. So this one says you're using a checklist for a buyer. Okay. So if you look through here, you're going to see that all these different options of things, and it'll tell you if it's mandatory, when it's mandatory to be in here. So this is a full active MLS, which you would pull off of your, the MLS system, our RealTrack system, and it is mandatory. So you have to have this, and it has to be 14 days, no later than 14 days after your binding agreement. Again, this is something that your transaction coordinator will do for you. We strongly recommend a transaction coordinator here at Genovations Realty. It is obviously your choice whether or not you use one and who you use. But if you don't use it and you're not doing this, that's on you. And it's real cheap to pay a transaction coordinator to take this kind of monotonous detail off of your hands. But moving on to the different types of things. So I have a buyer representation agreement. You can attach it by clicking here. All right. And if I was going to upload it from my computer, I could click here. I could either drag it or drop it from a folder like this, or I could click in here and go into the different things and find it, or I can just click add, attach, because I know that I already have the executed version in my documents, and I can click here and just click OK. And then I will see that it is in there, and I have it filled out and signed and executed. So then I will get it and I will review it, and then I will click and accept when I see that it's accurate, or I'll click a decline and it'll send you a message. But if you don't get the message, we will also reach out to you and let you know that we need whatever correction it is that we need. But that goes for anything you see. So you can see the compensation agreement for working with a buyer is mandatory within 14 days. Confirmation of agency is mandatory. Now, there's exceptions to all these rules, and you don't have to worry. You just have to give me maybe a note if you, let's say you can't, you don't have this, right? You can send me an email saying, hey, this is a for sale by owner. But to be honest with you, if you had a for sale by owner, I would be able to know that because you're going to add a document. So this is another thing. Say you have a for sale by owner, then you would want to add a working with a real estate agent, a real estate professional, and a agreement to show property. So you would want to add those extra documents so you can add a checklist item, right? And we're going to add a document, and we'll just say agreement to show property, right? And we're going to put it under the checklist for buyers, and we'll save that. And then now that's in there, and we would go in here, and I don't have that particular document in here, but I'm just going to pretend like this is it. And I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click OK. And now I would see that you put an agreement to show property in there, and I'd know that then therefore there's not going to be a compensation agreement because this is obviously a for sale by owner and there's not a cooperating agent. So you wouldn't have that. You would still need confirmation of agency. This is mandatory. You'd need a copy of earnest money. You'd need, unless for some reason you didn't have earnest money as part of it, and then I would see that in your purchase and sale agreement, uh, your disclaimer notice, all of these things. Again, there's exceptions to many of them. So if you don't have it, I would just probably ask you a question if I can't figure it out by what I see, and we'd work through it from that standpoint. But that's the basics on how to use a checklist. You fill out everything that's mandatory, and then if it's an FHA addendum or lead-based paint, personal interests, things like that that are optional. I put in a bunch of things that are optional that are more commonly used in our market, and you can again add anything that you don't. You need to fill this out so that your checklist says 100% complete, and also which would be the buyer checklist as well as the closing checklist. This would be something that if your check gets sent to our office and we get it before you do, we will put that in here for you so that you get paid. But having this filled out 100% is mandate to get your check. So get yourself comfortable with it. If you have any questions, please ask.